The art of the hidden crush is a psychological dance that has fascinated human behaviorists for decades. When a man begins to fall in love, he enters a state of heightened emotional vulnerability that can feel both exhilarating and terrifying. For many men, the instinct to protect their heart leads them to mask these burgeoning feelings behind a facade of friendship, casual indifference, or professional distance. This internal conflict, the battle between the overwhelming desire to be near someone and the paralyzing fear of rejection or loss of control, creates a series of distinct, often contradictory behavioral patterns. Understanding these tells requires looking past what a man says and focusing intently on what he does, as the subconscious mind almost always leaks the truth through micro-expressions, body language, and subtle shifts in priority. At the core of this behavior is the hero instinct and the biological drive to provide and protect. When a man falls in love, his brain chemistry shifts, increasing levels of dopamine and oxytocin, which heightens his focus on the object of his affection. However, if he isn't ready to commit or is unsure of the recipient's feelings, he will attempt to regulate these impulses. This results in the push-pull dynamic. He might be incredibly attentive one day and slightly distant the next, trying to recalibrate his emotional exposure. He isn't playing games. He is navigating a landscape of intense emotion without a map. He wants to be your hero, your confidant, and your constant companion, but he wants to achieve this without the high stakes of formal declaration. Recognizing these 15 signs is about connecting the dots of his silent language. It's in the way he remembers a throwaway comment about your favorite childhood snack, or the way his torso remains angled toward you even when he's engaged in a conversation across the room. These actions are low-risk, high-reward strategies. They allow him to build intimacy and demonstrate his value without the immediate danger of being turned down. By observing these patterns, ranging from digital attentiveness to protective instincts, you gain a window into a heart that is already yours, even if his lips are still sealed. Whether he is motivated by a fear of ruining a friendship, a past hurt, or simply a desire to be absolutely certain before he speaks, his actions provide the roadmap to his true intentions. This guide deconstructs the psychological blueprints of a man in the early, silent stages of love, helping you decode the mystery of his behavior and understand the depth of the affection he is currently trying so hard to hide. 1. He remembers the smallest details you mention. When a man is falling in love but attempting to keep those feelings under wraps, his subconscious mind often betrays his efforts through his memory. While he might try to act nonchalant or cool in your presence, his brain is hyper-focused on every piece of data you provide. This goes far beyond remembering your birthday or your favorite color. He will recall the name of your childhood pet, the specific way you like your coffee when you're stressed, or a passing comment you made weeks ago about a book you wanted to read. This level of retention occurs because, emotionally, you have become a high-priority subject in his life. In his mind, every detail you share is a puzzle piece he is using to build a more complete picture of who you are. However, because he is trying to hide his feelings, he may present these recollections in a casual way. He might say, "I just happened to see this and remembered you liked it," or "I think you mentioned this once," downplaying the fact that he has been intentionally cataloging your preferences. The psychological drive here is an unconscious desire to please and connect. By remembering the small stuff, he is demonstrating a level of investment that is usually reserved for a partner. Even if he avoids grand romantic gestures to keep his secret safe, this intellectual intimacy is a massive tell. It shows that when you speak, he isn't just hearing you. He is deeply listening. This selective attention is one of the earliest and most reliable indicators that his heart is moving faster than his willingness to admit it, as it requires a level of mental energy that a disinterested person simply wouldn't expend. 2. He becomes noticeably protective in subtle ways. A man who is falling in love often experiences a surge in hero instinct, a psychological drive to protect and provide for the person he cares about. When he is trying to hide these feelings, this protectiveness doesn't manifest as over-the-top jealousy or grand displays of bravado. Instead, it shows up in quiet, almost invisible actions. He might walk on the street side of the sidewalk, place a hand on the small of your back to guide you through a crowded room, or stay up late to make sure you get home safely after a night out. These actions are often instinctive rather than calculated. He may not even realize he is doing them. If you call him out on it, he will likely offer a logical or friendly excuse to mask his underlying emotion. For instance, if he insists on checking your car's tire pressure, he might frame it as him just being handy or observant rather than admitting he is deeply concerned for your safety. This behavior allows him to care for you while maintaining the just friends or casual facade he's trying to protect. Furthermore, this protectiveness extends to your emotional well-being. He will be the first to notice if someone in a group setting makes a slight at your expense, and he will likely step in to redirect the conversation or defend you in a way that feels natural but firm. He wants to be your safe harbor, but because he's hiding his love, he does so without demanding the title of your protector. He is content to watch over you from the sidelines, ensuring your world is a little bit easier and safer, even if he isn't ready to tell you why. 3. His body language leans toward you automatically. Body language is often referred to as the honest language because it is governed by the limbic system, which reacts to emotions before the conscious mind can intervene. Even if a man has coached himself to stay silent about his feelings, his physical presence will often lean, quite literally, in your direction. This ventral alignment, pointing his torso, feet, and face toward you, is a classic sign of deep interest and attraction. It indicates that you are the most important person in the room to him. You may notice that in a group setting, even if he is talking to someone else, his body remains angled toward you. This is a subconscious way of maintaining a connection. He might also subconsciously mirror your movements. If you take a sip of your drink, he takes a sip of his. If you lean back and cross your legs, he might do the same moments later. This mirroring is a biological mechanism designed to build rapport and show empathy. It's his body's way of saying, "I am in sync with you," even while his words remain neutral. Another subtle physical cue is the preening instinct. He might fix his hair, straighten his shirt, or adjust his watch when you enter the room or when he catches you looking. He wants to look his best for you, even if he isn't ready to pursue you formally. Additionally, notice his proximity. A man hiding his feelings will often find logical reasons to be near you, sitting in the chair next to yours or standing just a little closer than a typical friend would. His body is craving the closeness that his mind is currently forbidden from asking for. 4. He initiates frequent, short checking-in messages. In the digital age, attention is the most valuable currency, and where a man spends his digital time says a lot about his hidden feelings. If he is falling for you but hiding it, he likely won't send long, poetic paragraphs or good morning texts with heart emojis. Instead, he will utilize checking-in messages. These are low-stakes, casual reaching out points that serve as an excuse to keep the lines of communication open without looking too eager. He might send you a meme he thinks you'll like, a link to an article related to a topic you discussed, or a quick "did you ever finish that project?" text. The goal of these messages isn't necessarily to start a deep conversation, but to remain a constant presence in your life. By keeping the interactions brief and focused on external topics, he minimizes the risk of rejection or getting caught being too emotional. To him, these messages are safe. To an observer, they are a clear sign that you are constantly on his mind. This consistency is key. A man who is just a friend will text when there's a specific reason to do so. A man who is falling in love will create reasons to text. He is testing the waters, seeing how quickly you respond and how engaged you are. These short bursts of communication allow him to feel a sense of intimacy and connection throughout the day without having to make a formal declaration of his feelings. It is his way of being with you even when you are apart, maintaining a tether that he isn't quite ready to pull on yet. 5. He makes consistent eye contact but looks away when caught. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools of human connection. When we like someone, our pupils tend to dilate, and we find it difficult to look away. A man hiding his feelings will often be caught staring at you when he thinks you aren't looking. You might feel his gaze on you from across the room, but the moment you turn to meet his eyes, he quickly glances down at his phone or strikes up a conversation with someone else. This look and leap behavior is a classic sign of someone who is captivated by you, but afraid of the vulnerability that comes with being seen. When you do have a direct conversation, the eye contact might feel intense, longer than what is typical for a platonic friendship. He is trying to read you, looking for signs that you might feel the same way, while simultaneously getting lost in the moment. However, because he is hiding his love, he will often break that eye contact if the moment starts to feel too romantic or intimate. He is constantly managing the tension between his desire to connect and his fear of exposure. This behavior is rooted in the fear of being found out. To him, staring at you is a private indulgence, a way to admire you and feel close to you without any consequences. But the moment you look back, the interaction becomes two-way, and he risks his secret being revealed through his expression. If you notice him constantly catching your eye and then shyly or abruptly looking away, it's a strong indication that there is a whirlwind of emotion behind those eyes that he isn't quite ready to put into words. 6. He goes out of his way to offer help with tasks. When a man is falling in love but isn't ready to voice it, he often substitutes words with service. Helping you becomes his primary way of being close to you while maintaining a plausible good friend cover. If you mention your car is making a strange noise, he's the first to offer to look at it. If you're moving apartments or just need a heavy box carried, he shows up without being asked twice. This behavior is a manifestation of the hero instinct, a psychological drive to be useful and indispensable to the woman he cares about. By solving your problems, he is proving his value and ensuring he has a recurring role in your daily life. What distinguishes this from mere politeness is the effort involved. He will drive across town in traffic just to bring you a specific charger you forgot, or spend hours helping you research a topic for a project. To the outside world, he might claim he was in the neighborhood or had nothing better to do. But the reality is that he is prioritizing your needs over his own time and comfort. This self-sacrifice is a silent declaration of love. He wants to be the person you rely on, the one you think of first when things go wrong. In his mind, helping you is a safe way to express his devotion. It doesn't require him to say, "I love you," or risk the vulnerability of a romantic confession. Instead, he can hide behind the mask of being handy or reliable. However, the sheer consistency of his availability is the real giveaway. If he's always there to catch you when you stumble, it's not just because he's a nice guy, it's because he is deeply invested in your well-being and is quietly building a foundation for a future where he is always by your side. 7. He displays signs of nervousness or fidgeting around you. Even the most confident man can become a bundle of nerves when he's falling for someone. When he's trying to hide these feelings, the internal pressure to act normal often creates a physical leak of nervous energy. You might notice him fidgeting with his watch, smoothing his clothes repeatedly, or playing with his phone when there's a lull in the conversation. These are self-soothing behaviors that humans use when they feel a surge of adrenaline or anxiety. Being near you has become a high-stakes event for him, and his body is reacting to the excitement and the fear of being exposed. His speech patterns might also change. He could become uncharacteristically talkative, filling every silence to avoid an awkward romantic moment. Or he might become unusually quiet, overthinking every word before he says it. You might catch him stumbling over a simple sentence or laughing a little too hard at a joke that wasn't that funny. This happens because his conscious mind is working overtime to filter his thoughts, ensuring nothing romantic slips out, which leaves less mental bandwidth for smooth, natural social interaction. This nervousness is actually a massive compliment. It shows that your opinion matters deeply to him and that he is physically affected by your presence. A man who isn't interested is relaxed and indifferent. A man in love is hyper-aware. If you notice his hands shake slightly when he hands you something, or if he seems to have a sudden burst of clumsiness when you're close, it's because his heart rate is spiking. He is trying to keep his cool, but his nervous system is shouting what his lips refuse to say. 8. He asks deep, meaningful questions about your future. A man who is just a friend is usually content to talk about the here and now, the weekend plans, work stress, or mutual acquaintances. However, a man who is secretly falling in love will start to probe deeper. He will ask about your long-term goals, your views on family, your career ambitions, and what truly makes you happy. He isn't just making small talk. He is conducting a silent compatibility test. He wants to know if your vision of the future has room for someone like him, even if he hasn't officially applied for the position yet. These questions are often disguised as casual curiosity or philosophical debates. He might ask, "Where do you see yourself living in 5 years?" Or "What's the one thing you've always wanted to achieve?" By gathering this information, he is building a mental map of your soul. He remembers your answers and often brings them up later, showing that he hasn't just heard you, but has internalized your desires. This level of interest in your personal growth and future trajectory is a sign that he is already mentally placing himself in your timeline. Furthermore, he listens to your answers with an intensity that is rare in casual friendships. He is looking for green lights, signs that your values align with his. If you mention wanting to travel to a specific country, he might suddenly start researching it or mention he's always wanted to go there too. This is his way of finding common ground and projecting a shared future without having to make a formal commitment. He is falling for the person you are becoming, not just the person you are today. 9. He acts differently around you than he does with friends. One of the most telling signs of hidden feelings is a shift in persona. If you observe him with his group of male friends, he might be the loud one, the joker, or the stoic one. But the moment you walk into the room, his energy shifts. He might become more gentle, more attentive, or perhaps even more serious. This behavioral mirroring or adaptation happens because he is subconsciously trying to present the version of himself that he thinks you will find most attractive or comforting. Sometimes, this shift manifests as him becoming more protective or gentlemanly only when you are present. He might stop swearing, pay more attention to his posture, or become more focused on the conversation rather than the TV in the background. His friends might even tease him about it, noticing that he's different around you. This is because his focus has shifted from social hierarchy within his peer group to romantic courtship, even if that courtship is currently a secret. Alternatively, he might become more reserved or shy around you compared to his usual boisterous self. This is often a defense mechanism. By pulling back, he is trying to ensure he doesn't do or say anything that would give his feelings away. He is hypervigilant about his image in your eyes. If he treats you with a level of care, respect, and focused attention that he doesn't afford anyone else in his life, it's a clear indication that you hold a unique and high-ranking position in his heart. 10. He mirrors your actions and energy during conversations. Mirroring is a powerful, unconscious biological response that occurs when two people are deeply connected or when one person is trying to build a strong bond with another. If a man is falling for you, you will notice him subconsciously mimicking your body language. If you lean in, he leans in. If you cross your arms, he might do the same. If you use certain slang or hand gestures, he will start to adopt them as well. This is his brain's way of saying, "I am like you, and I understand you." This mirroring also extends to emotional energy. If you are excited and high energy, he will match that enthusiasm to keep the vibe going. If you are feeling down or quiet, he will lower his tone and become more reflective to meet you where you are. He is perfectly in tune with your frequency because he is constantly observing you. This level of synchronization is rarely found in casual friendships. It requires a deep, underlying attraction that forces his subconscious to stay locked into your movements and moods. To him, this mirroring is completely invisible. He doesn't realize he's doing it, which makes it one of the most honest signs of hidden love. It's a physical manifestation of empathy and attraction. By being in sync with you, he feels a sense of unity and closeness that he isn't yet ready to ask for out loud. It's a silent dance of connection that proves his heart is already following your lead, even if his feet are still trying to stay firmly planted in the friend zone. 11. He becomes highly attentive to your social media presence. In a world where digital interaction often precedes physical reality, a man falling in love will treat your social media profiles like a sacred text. While he may be careful not to like every single post to avoid looking overeager, his attention is undeniable. He is often among the first few people to view your stories, and he remembers specific details from a post you made months ago. This isn't just casual scrolling. It is a dedicated effort to understand your life, your interests, and your social circle when he isn't around. If he is trying to hide his feelings, He might use your post as a safe conversation starter. Instead of telling you he was thinking about you, he'll say, "I saw that photo of that pasta you had. Where was that?" This allows him to initiate contact with a logical excuse, masking his deep-seated desire to talk to you. He is looking for hooks to keep the connection alive. Furthermore, he may become uncharacteristically aware of who else is interacting with your content. While he won't admit to jealousy, he is silently cataloging the men who comment on your photos or the friends you spend the most time with. This digital attentiveness is a modern form of courtship. By keeping up with your life online, he feels a sense of intimacy that he is too afraid to claim in person. He is learning your sense of humor through the memes you share and your values through the causes you support. If you notice he brings up small details from your digital life that you never mentioned to him directly, it is a clear sign that he is spending his private time focused on you. He is falling for the version of you that you share with the world, while secretly wishing to be the person you share your private world with. 12. He includes you in his long-term plans indirectly. When a man is falling in love, his brain naturally begins to shift from me to we. Even if he is determined to keep his feelings a secret, his language will often betray him. You might notice him using we when talking about future events, such as a concert happening in 6 months or a movie coming out next year. He might say, "We should definitely check that out when it drops," or "You'd love that restaurant I'm planning to visit this summer." These aren't accidental slips. They are subconscious projections of a future where you are still by his side. This indirect inclusion is a way for him to test your reaction without making a formal commitment. If you agree or show excitement, he feels a surge of validation that his secret future might actually be possible. If you are hesitant, he can easily play it off as a casual suggestion between friends. He is essentially trial running a relationship in his mind. He might also ask for your opinion on major life decisions, like a career move or a new apartment, because he subconsciously wants to ensure his future environment is one that you would approve of or feel comfortable in. The beauty of this sign is its subtlety. He isn't asking you to marry him, but he is making sure you are penciled into his calendar for the foreseeable future. A man who sees you as just a friend lives in the present moment with you. A man falling in love is busy building a bridge to the next year. If he keeps making someday plans that involve you, he is silently telling you that he doesn't plan on letting you go anywhere. He is investing his most valuable resource, his future, in the hope that you will be there to share it with him. 13. He recalls your preferences without being prompted. There is a significant difference between remembering a fact and anticipating a preference. A man who is secretly falling for you will start to operate as if he is an internal database dedicated to your likes and dislikes. If you go to a restaurant together, he might remember that you hate cilantro or that you prefer sparkling water over still. When a song comes on, he might mention that he knows this is the artist you listened to during your college years. This level of detail requires active, emotional listening that goes far beyond basic social etiquette. Because he is hiding his feelings, he will often present these observations as common sense or random luck. He might say, "I just assumed you'd want the window seat," or "I grabbed this tea because I remembered you mentioned you were trying to cut back on coffee." These small gestures are his way of caring for you without having to use the word love. He is creating a world for you that is frictionless and tailored to your comfort. He wants you to feel seen and understood, which is the ultimate goal of romantic attraction. Psychologically, this is a sign of cognitive interdependence. His mind is beginning to treat your needs as an extension of his own. By prioritizing your preferences, he is demonstrating a level of devotion that is typically reserved for a long-term partner. He is paying attention to the nuances of your personality, the things that make you you, and using that knowledge to make himself indispensable. If he consistently knows what you want before you even have to ask, it's because he has spent a significant amount of time studying the map of your heart. 14. He lingers longer than necessary during goodbyes. The end of an interaction is often the most revealing moment for a man hiding his love. When it's time to say goodbye, a man who is falling for you will find micro reasons to stay in your presence for just a few more minutes. He might start a new, low-stakes conversation topic just as you're reaching for the door, or he might offer to walk you all the way to your car even if the parking lot is safe and well-lit. This lingering is a physical manifestation of his internal struggle. His mind knows he should leave to keep his secrets safe, but his heart doesn't want the connection to end. You may notice a change in his tone during these moments. It might become softer, more personal, or slightly more hesitant. The goodbye hug might last a second longer than a typical platonic embrace, or you might maintain eye contact for an extra beat after the words have been spoken. These are the moments where his guard is at its lowest. He is soaking in your presence to sustain him until the next time he sees you. To him, every extra second is a victory against the distance he is forced to maintain. This behavior is rooted in the peak-end rule, a psychological heuristic where people judge an experience largely based on how they felt at its peak and at its end. He wants the end of your time together to be positive, warm, and memorable. If he consistently turns a quick goodbye into a 10-minute conversation, he is subconsciously resisting the separation. He is fighting the reality that, for now, he has to let you go. If he always seems to be the last one to leave your side, it's because his heart is already home whenever he is with you. 15. He defends your honor even when you aren't present. The ultimate test of a man's hidden feelings is how he speaks of you and treats your reputation when you aren't in the room. A man falling in love becomes your most fierce, albeit silent, advocate. If someone in his social circle makes a disparaging remark about you or questions your character, he will be the first to shut it down. He won't do it in a way that reveals his romantic feelings. He'll likely frame it as a matter of fairness or respect, but his loyalty is absolute. He views an attack on you as an attack on something he deeply values. This protective streak extends to your professional and personal achievements as well. He will brag about your successes to others, acting as your unofficial publicist. He wants the world to see you through his eyes as someone brilliant, capable, and worthy of admiration. When he talks about you to his friends or family, there's a specific tone of pride in his voice that is absent when he talks about anyone else. Even if he hasn't told you how he feels, he is busy convincing everyone else in his life that you are someone special.